Start by thanking Ken Haslam and his entire staff and Montana Athletics. They've been terrific to work with, and they're good people. And you can clearly see why Montana is an elite program in the FCS division. And quite frankly, what you see here is no different than what you see across the country at the FBS level. So congratulations, and looking forward to a great day tomorrow. Great to have our electee, Dave Dickenson, into the College Football Hall of Fame. Dave becomes the second Montana Grizzly inducted as a player, joining Bill Kelly, and he becomes the sixth player from the Big Sky Conference to be inducted. On another note, he becomes the ninth player to be inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame and the CFL Hall of Fame. So indeed rare air. And when you talk about rare air, you can certainly speak about the College Football Hall of Fame, because you have to remember, since 1869, there's been roughly 5.5 million that have played college football. And in that time, only 997 players have been inducted. So do the math there, it's 0.02% as a player will ever get into the Hall of Fame. So truly very special. It might be the toughest of the Hall of Fames to get into. We certainly think so. And he joins a great class that includes Calvin Johnson, Ed Reed, Kerry Collins. It'll be a fantastic evening on December 4th. And we're just honored to have Dave in the College Football Hall of Fame. And as a reminder, Dave was also a National Scholar Athlete his senior year. So not only was he winning national championships, but he was getting it done in the classroom as well. And again, he's another example of, yes, it can be done both areas. You can do both. You can excel at both. In fact, if I remember correctly, you came to the dinner, accepted your honor, and came back and went and practiced. So to get ready for the championship game. So indeed, very special to have Dave. And it's a process to get into the College Football Hall of Fame. You have to be 10 years clear of your last college game. You cannot be an active professional player, and you have to be nominated by the school. And so there's a process that we go through, and this was Dave's year, and we're certainly glad to have him. And he'll be inducted on December the 4th in New York City at the annual awards dinner, where we also honor another Scholar Athlete class. But looking forward to tomorrow. It's a tradition to have what's called the on-campus salute on the field. And the plaque that Dave will receive tomorrow stays here with the university. Dave gets his plaque in New York City. So on behalf of Archie Manning, our chairman of the board of directors, and the over 12,000 members of the National Football Foundation and College Football Hall of Fame, it's a great honor to be here. And Dave, congratulations to you.
We'll turn it over to Dave, and Dave, just tell us a little bit about your thoughts as you come back here to the University of Montana, and how you're starting to feel about the reality of becoming a Hall of Famer.
I really shouldn't need an excuse to come back here, because this is the best place in the world, but I'm very proud to be part of this group. And I love football. I love the history of football. When I hear like Archie Manning's name, obviously we all know Peyton and Eli. But I remember watching him play and the people in the stands with their bags over their heads when I was a kid for the Saints. And to be honest, respect these guys. And I think what we're learning is respect has to go a long way in the college game, as well as any professional game, but any team game. And as a coach, you're just trying to build the right type of team. It's not always the greatest athlete. It's not always the guy that can jump the highest, run the fastest. I think there's room for people that know their roles, get everything out of their body that they can, are willing to sacrifice. It's a very selfless game. The best teams have players that'll do whatever it takes, regardless if they're getting the credit or not. And playing quarterback, to me, is just, you always seem to get the credit and the blame if you don't do well, more than you deserve. And I feel like I'm representing our team, our university, the state of Montana. I hope people are proud. Did I ever think I was going to get in? No, I had this dream, though, that it might happen, mainly because I guess being a guy that, you felt like you really did something, and you put some special marks on history. I've always told my players, you're going to be a part of history regardless. Make sure it's positive. Make sure it's the mark you want. We write our own story, and that's something that I work hard trying to get through to my players as a coach. Looking forward to just being out here with the Grizz. I didn't know I was even going to play another game after the national championship game. I thought that might be it. You know what? It would have been fine because it ended perfectly. Storybook ending for us. But being part of this group, and I know all these players. I mean, I grew up, obviously, I'm a Nebraska fan, so we got one of their O-linemen in the group. But I'm excited to just hang out with them. I just want to be, like you say, I don't know necessarily if everyone's going to know who Dave Dickenson is, but I know all these guys. I do have a recollection of a story. My dad worked for Topps baseball cards, football cards, and he was down with Peyton Manning signing 2,000 cards to put in those packs that all the kids want that are valuable now. And Peyton Manning knew who I was. And to me, those are things that you did the right thing. And ultimately, I'm proud to be here. I'm excited for the game. We'll see when it hits home. More than anything, though, I do enjoy being here with my family and being part of a group that is so special and representing Montana. And that's what's the best thing about it.
Any questions for either?
Dave, where does this rank on the list of accomplishments you've got in your career?
Yeah, this is up there. I mean, it's a team game. There's no doubt about it. It's special, though, no doubt. I don't know. I think it hits home as you see your teammates and all that. But like we were talking about, the numbers are insane. I wasn't even sure they'd let a guy from Montana in anyway. I didn't know Bill Kelly was in, but it just seems like sometimes we're so far off the beaten track. And now you look at what the university looks like and the facilities the guys have here. And I remember back, it wasn't like this when we showed up. In fact, we just got into a new stadium. They kept claiming we were going to get new locker rooms. Never happened. But this is way up there. And, I'm not going to have a lot more of these days. So, I mean, I think it's pretty cool that, as you get a little older, you can kind of reminisce. It was a special time. I think you look back and that type of deal, it was real pure. Football was pure. I didn't feel anything about business. I had no idea what the heck the university was making money in that. It didn't matter. You were here to play a team game, represent your coaches and your family, and see if you can get it done. And I do admit, you need that championship sometimes to validate your work. And for us to get it done that year was big. I've been on the other end of a couple major losses the last couple of years. And it's always obviously validates what the time and the sacrifices you put in when you get the win. But whether this happened or not, I was still going to be proud of what we did. But to be able to represent the Grizz and go in with such a great class, pretty excited.
You said you had hoped to be here, but that was after you had already accomplished everything. What if somebody came to you after maybe a freshman practice at CMR and said, hey, 3 decades from now you're going to be inducted into College Football Hall of Fame? What would you have said?
Well, you guys see my son, he's 78 pounds. That's how big I was in 9th grade. He's in 6th grade. I was tiny. In fact, I couldn't even play they had an A and a B team in junior high. I had to play on the B team. I was too small, probably the best thing for me. I wasn't very good up until about grade 10, and I honestly think they might even scholarshiped me here just because I had a good reputation and they were trying to get Montana kids. I don't really believe in their heart they thought I was going to be their guy. But I just don't take no for an answer and just figured it out. I know I'm not as gifted physically as a lot of the guys. I'm not as good a player as them either. But what I think's so cool about the College Hall of Fame is they recognize that what sort of impact did you make? Community, school. You got to be a damn good football player, but what else could you do? And I think I did stack up pretty good on those areas. And for them to I guess, weight that and give me a little bit extra weight on those type of areas and understand that we're all doing the same thing. Whether you're NAIA, NCAA, Division I, doesn't really matter. We're just trying to get a good education and play for our schools. and try to accomplish something special. And for these guys to make it, even put that cherry on the top, I think it says a lot about where we're at. So I obviously never thought I'd ever play pro, never thought I could make any Hall of Fames. But yeah, things have worked out.
In our discussions that we've had, back in January and then a month ago, you said it didn't feel real yet. Does it feel real yet now?
Well, I mean, it was interesting. I knew the guys were coming. I didn't even know where the head office was. I'm trying to figure things out while I'm in the middle of a season up in Canada. It's getting real. To me, this probably is going to be as fun of an event as anything. I'm looking forward to New York. I'm not really a New York guy, but I'm looking forward to going and figuring out how busy the traffic's going to be and that sort of stuff. But to me, and I've heard this from other people, I guess the salute at your university might be as fun and as special as anything, because that's kind of you're around the people that kind of helped you along the way and made you, and so it's going to be cool to walk out. And no, I'm hoping for a big win. I definitely, every time you have something cool that happens, it puts on your plate. If the school can back you up and get the big win. But it's hitting me, but it's also, it'll probably still be a little surreal just getting around the guys that are in this class and realizing, you're kind of part of the history books now in a positive way, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Dave, you mentioned being in the middle of a season now. I'm sure there are a million hoops that kind of had to be jumped through. So how much did you have to kind of work around getting here this week, and what was it like to kind of make this work?
Like you said, with the university basically gave me a blank slate. Like, look at the schedule, figure it out. We had a rule change in Canada where we have 3 bye weeks this year. This is the last of my bye weeks. As coaches, we usually get working more than players. Normally we would be working, but the head coach decided to set the schedule, that's me, and say, guys, we'll work earlier in the week and we'll back off on the weekend. So I appreciate my staff doing those type of things. But it is fortunate, obviously, to get it to line up. Beautiful day, beautiful weather. To me, fall is football. In Canada, we start in May because our weather stinks. But to me, it's fall. That's what I want to be part of. And the leaves start changing. That to me, it's time to put the pads on and go to work. So obviously the NCAA has allowed us to pick the weekend, and it's perfect time, perfect spot. And like I said, I haven't watched a Grizz game now in 13 years, which I don't know why. I got to get off my butt. But I do think that it's going to be the quality of athletes you're getting these days, to see what this stadium is all about. The fan support still is about as good as anywhere in the nation. It's going to be a great day.
Do the fans in Calgary and your Stamps players realize what you were down here south?
What I was? I'm still that guy.
There you go.
Probably not. I mean, I don't know. Like, I've had many coaches, and some of them that would bring out their highlight tape of when they played, and it doesn't resonate with me as an athlete. So I don't really try to tell them how great I was or those type of things. We have a bunch of Big Sky players on our team. In fact, our middle linebacker that won Defense Player of the Year is a Montana State alum, so that hurts. But I have a starting quarterback, an Eastern Washington guy, so I do need to get more Grizz flavor. But I don't really believe they'll know until Twitter and some of the things hit their feeds, and they're like, really? You're part of that group? We do preach, though. We are pretty tight up there. I love coaching. I feel like you have a chance to impact people. I think you, as a player, you do too, but I think as a coach, you might have a little bit bigger impact on shaping how people are responsible, and how accountability and selflessness and doing the things that hopefully make them into better men. So that part of my game is fun to be a part of those guys. And I think you have to have a little street cred. I think you do. I think as a coach, if you haven't played, I think you got an uphill battle. And I know I don't look the part, but I can just say, hey, just go ahead, Google the name, figure it out. I know what I'm talking about, and it does help. So we've had great success that way too, and it doesnn't hurt that to be able to at least I guess draw back on your memories. But I don't get on the field. I haven't thrown a ball with the guys in a couple of years. I've kind of moved on that, even though we got an 11-year-old kid there, so we still chuck it. But other than that, yeah, it's certainly the glory years have bypassed me. Body's pretty beat up, so more just coaching rather than showing.
Win the Grey Cup as a player or a coach?
I won it as a coach. All I did as an assistant. I want to win it as a head coach. It's better as a player. There's no doubt. I mean, everything about playing is you actually have a direct impact on the game. As a coach, you just try not to screw it up, and I think sometimes coaches get in the way. You can put your guys in good situations, but a player is you are the heart and soul. You've got the blood and the guts of that game. You decide the outcome. So anything you do as a coach, I think you're so dependent on your guys. You're so thankful that they're willing to sacrifice for you. But as a player, I think you do feel like you kind of got the pulse of the game. You're more right in the battle, and to me, it's still more special as a player.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, worked out too this week. CMR's in town tonight, actually. So
I should have paid attention. That's it. I got my parents in town. We're gonna go to the depot for a little dinner and hit some of the old guys. But I didn't know that. But that's a good idea, especially with what it is. I've lost contact a little bit with my alma mater on both sides. It's kind of sad because sometimes you get in your own little world. But I agree with you. I know Missoula. I feel like I have a good connection now with the coaching staff. I'm going to try to be a bigger part of just being part of the family. And then obviously CMR moved on from my head coach, but Gary Lowry's their guy. And I know it hasn't been going so well for the Great Falls teams. Great Falls High seems to be playing a little better, but it would be nice to get out there and see the Rustlers go. And I'm not sure I'm going to make it, though. I'm only here for 2 days. I'm trying to get as many people in as I can, but certainly still try to follow.
Like you just said, this time here is kind of going to be a whirlwind for you. Are you getting into things that you want to do? I mean, there's so many people that want to see you and so many things that you yourself want to do too.
The main thing is to hang. I mean, like you want to have your family with you because this is the most important. And you got to look back, and it's not like you can thank everybody. I think that's pretty common. You got to realize that you have certain guys that you do want to try to make the effort. A guy like Ken Staninger, he's not with us. It would be nice, but some things don't happen.
What's it like being able to kind of show your son pictures of you and all that kind of stuff, walk him down the hall?
Well, he laughed because I had hair. And no, it's it's cool, but he'll do his own path. He'll go to his own schools. He'll figure it out. But what's nice is that they really have done a nice job at preserving history and giving us older guys a chance to kind of reminisce. Also, it's quite the facility, but I think it's you gotta, like I said, I really played the game to try to create a footprint, a legacy. I did, and I guess if you don't get back, sometimes you lose track of where you were. And so I think it's important to always, figure out where you've been to figure out where you're going. And I get so involved, so busy. I think we all do. And if you don't just settle down a little bit, take a deep breath, and kind of remember back to what basically some of the best times of your life. I think that's important to do that. And it is difficult to prioritize kind of what's important to you. Got your family and your team and this and that, but I feel like the Montana people have always really adopted me. I feel like wherever I've been, I was in San Diego, and all of a sudden the Grizz people down there, a guy named Brad Kleiber reached out. Hey, what can I do for you? Can I help you out? Just stuff wherever you're at, whatever city you end up landing in. There's some extension of the Grizz Nation and Grizz family that they don't even know you, and they reach out to you and try to help you out. So that's I don't know if that's common in a lot of places, but I think it is more associated obviously with colleges, universities versus in pro teams. But I feel like Montana has been behind me all the way, and hopefully I've done a nice job.
Couple more questions?
You've talked about your size a couple times already. How much has that just kind of driven you throughout your whole football life?
Well, I don't know. I was anxious to see. There's a couple other guys not super big on this, but I always look at like Charles Woodson on TV, and I feel like Charles isn't a very big guy, and I think he's like 6'3". I looked at him next to Randy Moss and these guys on TV. I'm like, I knew I wasn't going to fit the mold. Kind of knew that I'd probably get short-selled. I didn't even really want to go to a bigger school than Montana because I felt I probably wouldn't get the opportunity that I hoped to get and deserve. I thought this was the right fit. But the thing about it, you're only born with what you got, so figure it out and take advantage of it. Because, like, okay, so maybe I'm taller, maybe I'm not as quick. You know, maybe I'm not. I had good feet. I was able to get in and out of jams. So you just take with what you got, and no excuses though. Just make sure that you know I think I can still beat you. I think line up across me. I'm gonna do everything I can to beat you. And so I never used it as an excuse. The thing about it is quarterback. I felt this more NFL than anything else, is that if a guy brings you on your team and you're 5'10", 185, and you fail, that guy that brought you in, he loses his job. Whereas if the guy that brings you in and you're 6'5", 230, and the player fails, it's all the player's fault. And that's where I couldn't find the right fit professionally NFL to stick their neck out of line, I think, long enough or far enough to get my foot in there. That's probably my only real regret as far as my football career is that I couldn't at least get a snap in the NFL. But, you know, it is part of the journey. It's part of the story. And that's probably like the only thing that hasn't worked out for me. And ultimately, I still feel like if I would have got the chance, I could have done it. So, you know, you just go with what you got. Like I said, I've always been smaller. If I wasn't so damn stubborn, I might have got quit in football because I was getting crushed at a young age, and I just wouldn't give up, and that kind of has served me well at long term. So, you know, those are the type of life lessons I think if you pay attention to them, you figure it out. That's probably what makes you who you are.
Montana's new colors are obviously maroon and silver. How excited are you to see your old, copper and gold?
Yeah, I mean, he's from Dallas, so he sees a lot of that out in Austin, Texas orange. I love it. I've never been partial to the yellow. Sorry, people. I think these helmets that they got right now are just so sweet. And I love the old colors, but, you know, no one's ever going to ever mistake me for a guy that knows fashion. So I'm wearing a Stampeder hat to kind of give my team a little bit of love right here. But it is, for me, it's cool. I thought it makes us unique. I know that financially it made sense to change those colors to go back, but I'm still partial to the copper. I think the guys, when they wear them, I don't know the present athlete that well, but I have a feeling they're going to be pretty fired up. I think they're going to like to change and understand history is important. You need to know where you came from. You can live in the present, but you have to know where you've been at, and I think the boys will enjoy coming out of the tunnel in the copper, and hopefully they put a good performance together.
Anybody else? Brother? Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Thank you, by the way. Good job. All good. I was serious about that.